Good morning everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, or whatever time it is where you are watching from. Thank you for joining us once again for another riveting episode of Electrician Life. And today you might recognise this because I posted a video a little while ago about this place. Fault finding is fun. That was the theme of the previous video, and I found the fault, and today I'm back fixing the fault. So we've got basically a cable that goes from this downlight here across the ceiling to that downlight there, which is faulty, and my job today is to replace that cable or repair it if I can find the damage. But it's going to be tricky because I've got insulation, like Kingspan sort of hard insulation in these ceilings. It's absolutely stuffed full of insulation, stuffed full of joists and stuff as well. So I think I'm going to have to cut several holes in the ceiling and then fish the cable across basically. But I'm going to disconnect it at both sides, the dodgy cable, give it a pull, see if I can get any pull on it at all, which I doubt. And yeah, just see what we can do to replace that cable. As always, if you enjoy my videos, hit a thumbs up and let's get into it. Right, well, I have good news. I have unclipped the cable from within this hole, and it appears that I can actually pull it. When I pull this one, see that? It moves. Only a little bit, but it might be enough to be able to just pull in a new cable on the old one. So I'm going to give it a go. That would be great if I can do that without damaging the ceiling. So what I'll have to do is strip this cable back and then really tightly and neatly tie on a new cable, and then I will pull it from that side and hope that the new cable will pull in. Let's give it a go. So just to show you what I tend to do in these situations, how I tend to tie on a cable, what I'll do is I'll strip back the outer sheath, and then I will also strip back the inner sheath so that you've just got exposed copper like that. Then I'll do the same on the cable that I'm going to pull in, about the same amount, like so. So you've got two ends like that. Then this one I fold back just enough so that it doubles back onto itself and creates a kind of loop, and then I will loop this one through there and loop this one back on itself too. Then I get a pair of pliers and really tightly bend this back on itself so that it's very, very smooth, because what you want is the minimal width possible on this join so that it doesn't snag on anything. So something like that will usually do the trick. And then, very important step, tape it up. So I put some insulation tape around it like that, starting up here, and just wrap it round tightly around the join. Basically what you want is the join to be narrower than the actual main cable itself, because if you put anything that's slightly wider than the main cable, then you're just asking for a snag basically. But that should hopefully do the trick. Then I'll lay this excess cable out in a nice straight line so that there are no kinks in it that can get stuck. And then I'll pull it on this side and hopefully we'll be able to just pull the new cable in. Right, so here we go. Moment of truth. Ha! Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Yes! Oh, but look at that. So that is classic rodent damage. That's either squirrels or rats. But that is seriously bad. Flipping heck. Yeah, that looks like squirrels to me. They've literally trimmed all the insulation off of it and the internal insulation as well. That's absolutely crazy. But fantastic that I managed to pull the new one in without having to damage the ceiling. That is an absolute win. Doesn't happen that often. So you've just witnessed a truly unique moment in the channel history where something goes my way instead of going against the grain, shall we say, because that's what usually happens. It seems like an easy job and it turns into a nightmare job. Anyway, maybe before I speak too soon, let me just get the cable connected up and then we'll see. So I'll just show you a close-up of this cable now that I've pulled out. Absolutely shredded by squirrels. I'm pretty sure it is squirrels. That has been chewed to pieces. Let me know in the comments if you recognise the rodent behind this. I mean, it's definitely some kind of rodent, but whether it's squirrels or rats, I'm not 100% sure. But I have a feeling it's probably squirrels. Squirrels, for some reason, love to chew cables, as do rats and mice. But squirrels in particular, if they get in a loft, they can absolutely cause terrible damage. And this is a classic example of that. I mean, they didn't just, they just didn't just nibble it. They absolutely shredded that cable. And I believe, let me know in the comments why they chew the cables if you're a rodent expert or something like that. But I believe there's some kind of like compound within the PVC that they like the taste of. Maybe it's a little bit sweet or something like that. But there's something in there that they like. It's not just, it's not just that they chew it to annoy electricians. There's a reason that they chew on these cables. So let me know in the comments what you think it is. But that is an amazing piece of Squirrel Damage. I think that's one of the best I've ever found, to be honest. So these Ashley Junction boxes, they remind me of my apprentice days actually, because I spent endless hours when I was an apprentice just wiring up these Ashley brown junction boxes for fitting down lights, and it was always the halogen down lights with the 12-volt transformers, which we don't install anymore obviously, but yeah, it's a bit of a throwback really, isn't it? It feels so old school now, this, compared to what we use now, which is obviously maintenance-free junction boxes, Wargo boxes. But this was how we used to do it, and it's not that long ago really that we used to do it this way. What we always used to do is split the live and neutral across the two closest terminals and then bring the CPC to the furthest one. So that's how they've done it here as well, which is nice to see. They're a bit fiddly, these things, really. It takes so much longer than using a maintenance-free junction box. You can see the advantages really that we've gained from the technology of push-fit connections, because this one will take you quite a few minutes to wire up, whereas a Wargo box doesn't take long at all. In fact, thinking of that, I think what I might do is just swap this out for a Wargo box and do the same there, and then they're both up to date. It's probably going to be easier and quicker. So this is what I mean about these Ashley junction boxes. These are the things that we used to use when I was an apprentice, and probably some people still use them, but I think screw terminals are old school and we need to change them. So basically you've got, obviously that one I removed because that was the dodgy neutral, but usually you basically got 2 twin and earths coming in. So you're, you know, loop in and loop out for your light fittings, going in between the light fittings. And then this is a transformer cable, which is only 2 core because it's a class 2. These transformers are class 2, they don't require an earth. So that little the little box within a box symbol is the class 2 symbol. You see that? The little square within a square, that is class 2. That means that it's double insulated, so it doesn't need an earth. And then the CPCs are just connected together in this terminal here. But what I'm going to do now is replace that with this modern equivalent, which is a Wargo box Lite. And basically it's like a normal Wargo box but slightly smaller. And rather than having 2 entries in one side, it's got 1 entry in and 1 entry out the other side. So essentially what you can do is take your 2 twin and earths in this side and then take your lighting transformer cable out of that side. And it's designed to be used with these Wargo connectors, which have 2 entries for solid conductors and 1 entry for stranded, and you just push that down, push the wire in and then release it and it grips on. So these are perfect for this kind of situation where you've got 2 twin and earths and then 1 more sort of flexible stranded cable going out. So what I'll do is just cut this flex out of that junction box, strip it back, and then I'll pop it into the Wargo connectors already. So you can see that it just goes nicely into the Wargo and the Wargo secures it really well. And then I'll do that same with this one, and then that just goes in that cord grip like that and that secures it. And then basically the 2 solid cables for the Wargos go in there. Obviously I'll need to connect the CPCs together as well, so I'll need a normal 2-way Wargo to put the CPCs in. So before I get too excited, what I'm going to do is just do another insulation test on these cables now, because obviously the fact that there's been such extensive rodent damage on that particular cable, I'd be quite surprised if there's not rodent damage on some of the other cables too. So what I've done is I've just taken this light switch off, and that's the line and neutral conductor for that particular line of lights. So I'll just connect the line and neutral together, and then I'll do an insulation test down to the CPC. I'm doing it at 500 volts, and we've got about 5 megohms. It's sort of slowly rising, which is okay. It's not perfect obviously, so it means that there might be some slight damage to some of the other cables, but not enough to cause any major issue. And it's a difficult one really, because I could recommend to just rewire the whole lot just in case, but you never know what's going to happen when you pull the old cables out. Will you find damage, or will it be fine? And will I be able to actually pull all the cables out like I did with that one, or will some of them be more tricky to change over? So I think I'm just going to leave it like this for the moment and recommend to the customer, just mention to the customer the fact that actually there is, you know, a slightly lower reading on some of the other cables as well, and there's a possibility that they might be damaged, but it's not going to be enough to cause it to trip at the moment. Maybe see how it goes. If it gets worse and they have problems in the future, then we know where to go with this. But I imagine if there's been squirrels in this part of the loft, then probably there's been squirrels in this part as well, you know. And where do you stop really? You could end up rewiring the whole lights in the whole place. So for the moment everything's up and running safely and working, so that's good. So that is it, guys. The lights are all up and running. Bit of a dodgy bulb there, but everything else is working. And I'm really happy that I managed to find that squirrel damage. That was a result, really. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know all your squirrel and rat stories in the comments. I would love to hear your epic tales of rodent damage. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.